Is it morally acceptable to use animals for scientific research, and if so, under what conditions? I'll be honest, boss, I value human life over animal life. From that perspective, almost anything is permissible so long as suffering of the animal is minimized. I don't think the morality of the situation needs to be more complex than that. We already take advantage of animals' products and labor in every aspect of our lives. Would you rather we use people? As hyped up as organ-on-a-chip technology is, it's nowhere near being able to replace seeing what happens in a whole organism. Ooh, somebody came to Reddit to do their homework. Good job. When people think of animals for scientific research, they often think of mice or rabbits or other mammals. A lot of research is done using model organisms like fruit flies and nematodes. If you stopped all animal research, the fields of genetics and medicine would almost assuredly be set back for like a century. Don't fool yourself, Timmy. If a cow could, they'd experiment on you and everyone you love. We do worse things than research to animals every day and no one bats an eye. I'm not a zoologist or anything, but my friend is, and we've talked about this a lot. Using animals in research can be acceptable, but only if it's done ethically. Minimize harm, stick to strict guidelines, and always look for alternatives. It's all about balancing progress with responsibility. Yes. How else would we get medication and surgical advancements? For humans and animals alike, there are very strict rules these days. Animals are enriched, suffering is mitigated, and we make their short life as good as possible. Source: I am a lab animal technician. This is my job. Lab technician here. The thing with animal models is that most try to avoid them if at all possible. If human-derived cells or bacteria could serve as a better model for your experiments, it could be cheaper and less ethically concerning than using an animal model. If it's such a study that an animal model is needed, then it's treated with the utmost respect to various legal standards to ensure the animal does not suffer. Thorough training, documentation, and ethical questions are given to every person who works with laboratory animals. Everyone I've met that has worked with lab animals, primarily mice and rats, have a sense of we don't like doing it, but it is necessary for the research and try to be as respectful to the animal as possible. Forget society and consider nature. Nature is metal. We made our way to the top of the food chain. If other animals want that privilege, they can come and take it from us. Don't lose hope, our hubris will surely be our downfall eventually, and then another species can have a turn. Of all the things we do to animals, at least research, for the most part, leads to some good. Does it suck? Yes. What is the alternative? Test on humans. Okay. You volunteering? Shrug. I'm a neuroscience researcher and I work with animals daily. The animals I work with are closely monitored to make sure they stay in good health, and all experiments on them have to be approved. Still, it does weigh on me that we have to keep these animals locked up, outside of their natural habitat. In the end, I think it's worth it only because there have been countless medical advances that would not have been possible without animal research. As a side note, I find it odd that this question gets asked a lot, but we almost never ask if it's morally acceptable to eat animals. There are far more animals kept in captivity for consumption than for research, and their quality of life is dramatically worse. Look up documentaries such as Dominion and you'll see how bad it really is. Any researcher who tried to subject their animals to the conditions that factory-farmed pigs and chickens live in would go to jail for animal abuse. And unlike medical research, it's completely unnecessary. We don't need to eat meat to live. My stance is that it's better to test on animals than people, but cruelty shouldn't be tolerated. Absolutely yes. Of all the things that can and do happen to animals, scientific research is the lesser one. The protocols that exist today in research cause that animals are well treated and cared for. I live in Latin America and I can assure you that they live a better life than the AVG dog here. Where it is possible is avoided. But for some things it is either animals or humans, and one of those is way more unethical than the other. Plus the ethical standards and quality of life standards for test animals are very strict, exactly to ensure the animal does not have a shitty life as well. It can be morally acceptable if it minimizes harm, is necessary for significant scientific or medical progress, and follows strict ethical guidelines, like ensuring animal welfare and exploring alternatives. It's a complex issue with no easy answers, but I believe animal research is justified when it directly benefits human health and there are no viable alternatives. Under the condition that they are animals and not people, animal research can be morally acceptable if it is necessary for significant scientific advances and conducted under strict conditions that minimize suffering, ensure humane treatment, and follow ethical oversight. I think it varies, man. Like, you put a rat in a maze and he gets a little snacky snack at the end, that's cool. But like, you keep dipping rats in acid or something, like that's pretty not cool, bro. Using animals for scientific research can be morally acceptable, but it's like hosting a dinner party with strict guest rules. Make sure it's for a good cause, only invite guests, all be treated with utmost respect, and don't serve them any bad food. In other words, the research should be vital, the animals' suffering minimized, their care top-notch, and alternatives explored where possible.